Title: The Hollow Echo of Silence. The dusty sign at the entrance read, "Welcome to Havenwood." The letters were faded, eaten away by time and neglect. An icy wind whistled through the cracks in the wood, like a ghostly whisper that chilled me to the bone. I shouldn't have ignored the warning. I arrived in Havenwood seeking shelter. A relentless storm had diverted me from my route, and the small dot on the map promised a place to spend the night. But Havenwood was anything but a refuge. It was a ghost town, a skeleton of what it once was. The houses stood silent on either side of the main street, their windows like empty eyes staring into the void. The paint peeled off like burnt skin, revealing the rotten wood beneath. A rusty swing creaked gently on the porch of one house, a ghostly echo of lost children's laughter. The silence was absolute, oppressive. A silence so profound that it throbbed in my ears, that felt like a tangible presence. There were no birds singing, no dogs barking, no distant hum of traffic. Only the wind, moaning through the buildings like a tormented soul. As I walked down the main street, an unsettling feeling took hold of me. I wasn't alone. I felt invisible eyes fixed on my back, presences lurking in the shadows. The corners of the buildings grew darker, as if they were absorbing the light, and the shadows stretched and twisted, taking on grotesque shapes. In the town square, an old well stood like a monument to despair. A thick iron chain hung rusted, and the water at the bottom looked black and viscous. A feeling of dread washed over me as I approached. It was as if the well was calling me, as if an invisible force was drawing me towards its darkness. I jumped when I heard a sound. A whisper, soft as the rustle of silk, but laden with an indescribable malevolence. "You shouldn't have come," the voice whispered. I turned sharply, searching for the source of the sound. But there was no one. Only the empty houses, the dancing shadows, and the howling wind. Panic began to grip me. I tried to convince myself that it was my imagination, that fatigue and stress were playing tricks on me. But inside, I knew I wasn't alone. I decided to seek shelter in the only building that seemed to be in relatively good condition, the town hotel. The front door was wide open, inviting me into its darkness. The lobby was covered in dust and cobwebs. A dark wooden reception desk stood in the center, with a rusty bell on top. A dusty calendar showed the month of October 1955. As I examined the place, a figure appeared at the end of the hallway. It was a woman, dressed in an old-fashioned gray dress. Her face was pale and gaunt, and her eyes shone with a sickly light. "Can I help you?" she asked with a soft, melodic voice. "I just need a place to spend the night," I replied, trying to hide my nervousness. The woman smiled, a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Of course. We have many rooms available." She handed me a rusty metal key and pointed me to a room on the second floor. I climbed the stairs cautiously, feeling her eyes following my every step. The room was small and austere. A bed with a sunken mattress, a nightstand with a dusty lamp, and an old wardrobe. The window was covered with thick curtains that blocked the light. I locked the door and sat on the bed, feeling the fatigue overcoming me. I tried to relax, but the feeling of being watched persisted. Suddenly, I heard a scratching at the door. Then, a whisper, louder this time. "Leave. Before it's too late." I jumped out of bed and approached the door. I flung it open, but there was no one. The hallway was empty, plunged into an unsettling darkness. Fear paralyzed me. I knew I had to get out of there, that Havenwood was a cursed place. I gathered my things hastily and left the room. I ran down the stairs, my heart pounding a mile a minute. When I reached the lobby, the woman was standing behind the desk, watching me with a sinister smile. "Leaving so soon?" she asked. "You've only just arrived." "I have to go," I replied, my voice trembling. The woman let out a laugh. "No one ever leaves Havenwood." At that moment, the lights in the hotel went out, plunging us into total darkness. Screams echoed from all directions, spectral voices surrounding me and imprisoning me. I tried to run, but an invisible force stopped me. I felt cold, bony hands grabbing me, pulling me into the darkness. "Welcome to Havenwood," whispered the woman, her voice turned into a guttural croak. "Now you are one of us." Then, everything went black. I woke up in one of the hotel rooms. The calendar still read October 1955. I got up and looked in the mirror, my face was pale and gaunt, and my eyes shone with a sickly light. I went down to the lobby, and the woman was waiting for me. "Can I help you?" I asked with a soft, melodic voice. A thick fog had descended upon Havenwood. The town was even quieter than before, if that was even possible. Specters accompanied me as I walked down the main street. I am now part of this nightmare, condemned to wander the empty streets of Havenwood forever. And every time a clueless traveler dares to cross the boundaries of the town, I whisper the same warning that was once whispered to me: you shouldn't have come.